Hyundai has refreshed the Santa Cruz for 2025 and it looks a lot more chiseled and rugged with the squared off details in the front end now compared to the 2024. And we also have a brand new interior with some fantastic news that I can't wait to show you. So what we're going to do in this video, have a look at this specific 2025 Hyundai Santa Cruz, the top of the line, all-wheel drive from a front, side, rear, the interior, and then of course, we're going to take it for a drive. Now, before we go into detail about this brand new front end for 2025, let's check out what's hiding under the hood. So this one being the Santa Cruz Limited in this rockwood green, which I think looks great, this exterior color. We do have a 2.5 liter turbo inline 4, putting out 281 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque. And with the Limited, you also get an 8-speed dual clutch automatic. In the base models, it's just a standard automatic. All-wheel drive, of course, 0 to 60. It takes about 6.3 seconds. Fuel economy comes in at 19 city, 27 highway. And the price for this, I'm honestly surprised. I think it's a really good deal for what you're getting. The price, as this one is tested, the Limited, top of the line, comes in at $44,105. Now, starting with the front end design here, as I said, it got a lot more chiseled, a lot more rugged, and I think it suits this specific vehicle to have this more aggressive styling for it. You can see that these daytime run lights now, right here, are part of the design of the grille. So we have the same sort of rectangles here coming in and then turning into the lights for the daytime run lights. I think that looks very cool. We do have, of course, in this case, proper bumper headlights. You can see them all the way down there. These are projector style headlights and a new indicator for 2025 as well. Full LED, looking beautiful. What I'm not a huge fan of when it comes to both the front end and the rear end is this chrome. So this entire piece here, even this lower section, is all chromed out. Something that I don't feel necessarily suits this specific vehicle. You also have chrome here in the grille. I would want to have everything here be blacked out instead. You can see up on the hood, we have some nice lines going in here. Doesn't really have a connection to anything going on up top, but it looks pretty cool still. And this is also very chiseled now with this feature here. You have a small little chamfer right underneath the daytime run lights, and you see this black here. This is the exact black I want to have in this area as well. A completely open grille, of course. Everything is open up, and you have the front mounted camera located right here underneath the big Hyundai logo. Open up here and open down at the bottom. You have the radar integrated here for the cruise control. And overall, when we look at the front end here and compare it to the 2024 model year, I think this looks great. It has a very confident front end, and also this, almost you can call this pixelated style for the LEDs or the daytime run lights that Hyundai has been doing now for a couple of years. Now, coming around to the side view, this being a unibody truck, looking like an SUV that they just chopped off the rear end for. But I think this looks very nice, and it has a specific Hyundai lines to it. What I mean by that is the shoulder line, how it splits right in the front doors. You can see it right here, how it splits into two separate lines, one going downwards, one going up to the A-pillar, looking pretty cool. The wheel and tire setup for this specific Limited is the biggest wheels you can get. These are 20-inch wheels, and they are 245 millimeter wide all around. And I do like the design of these. I think they look proper, definitely fills out the wheelhouses properly. One little detail that I also like here is if you look up here on every single piece, fender plastic, the plastic that goes around the fenders, you do have a small little Santa Cruz integrated in the plastic itself. So it looks pretty cool there. The overall proportions, it looks great as well. It has a very dynamic design to it, this being a unibody truck, having more of a sporty design than a body on frame design for a truck. I do like how the greenhouse swings upwards here. Of course, this is going to limit the visibility from the passenger seat, but it still looks very, very nice to have that there. Up top, we have a standard size sunroof looking great, and we also have the blacked out features here going around the windows and also underneath the side mirror right here. In addition to the 360 camera located in the regular position, we have an LED integrated in the side mirror for the indicator light. And honestly, I think this is probably one of the best, maybe not the best. I do like the Ford Maverick as well, but for unibody trucks, I think this looks absolutely fantastic. It definitely has a lot of lines and styling to it, so you can clearly tell that this is in fact a Hyundai. Now coming around to the rear end, and this is of course what makes the Santa Cruz pretty special with the unibody design. I do like the storage that we have back here. Let me show you. Let's fold this down. Again, chrome coming back here. I don't want to see chrome. You have the rear mounted camera located right there. So let's pop this open. And you can also slide this. So you just slide it by pushing this upwards like that, and then you can latch it in different positions, so we can have it latched right there if you want to. And what I love about this area down back here, you have a 4-foot bed, but you can open this and check out all the storage that you have underneath here. You have storage right there at the bottom, and you also have storage here on the side. So let me open this up. You can see right here, and it's very deep, super deep compartments on both sides of the Santa Cruz. I think this is a great feature for just having some small stuff. Specifically, if you go camping a lot, you can have a bunch of small little accessories located here and also down here. You have some tie downs, rails going across both sides, and a couple of LEDs on both sides as well. So let's fold this back up and let's talk about the design of the rear end. Not a lot of changes for the 2025 model year compared to the 2024 when it comes to the rear, because this is more of a facelift, literally, so they don't really bother too much about changing up the rear end. But I do like that it spells out Santa Cruz down here, and this rockwood green color looks great. You have LED daytime run lights here, but regular light bulbs for the indicator. So this is a situation when we have, again, I've said this before, when we have LED indicators in the front, I want to have it in the back as well. It's cool that it says designed in California here inside of the taillight as well. You have some rubberized plastic protection up here. To sum up the rear end styling, I think it looks cool. It definitely looks unique. It definitely looks Hyundai to me. It's not going to mix this up with anything else than a Hyundai Santa Cruz. I also like the steps that you have here, of course, making it a lot easier to just step up here and check out, get a nice overview of what's going on in the bed. All the way down low, we don't have exhaust tailpipes, which is totally fine for me. You have a couple of LEDs here integrated in the bumper. And that's pretty much it for the exterior design. Let me know what you think about the refresh, specifically talking about the front end design. Do you prefer the more rugged style that we have here, or the more, I wouldn't call it organic, but it was a lot more fluid lines in the pre-facelift than what we have here? Personally, I'm a fan of this design. It feels like a design that the designers had a lot of fun just sketching this up and trying to make it unique in this segment. Now, one thing I've loved doing ever since I was a kid is sketching. Over the years, I've taught thousands of students the art of design sketching using simple tools such as just a big pen, some print paper, and maybe a few markers. And now, I've bundled all my classes into one mega bundle of sketching madness called Analog Designer Pro Pack, and you can get instant access to all 11 hours of content for just $47. Inside, I'll teach you everything you need to know about design sketching, whether it be sketching cars or products, and I'll introduce you to my personal favorite sketching technique called cloud sketching that you won't find anywhere else. And this simplifies perspective sketching and how to get the proportions right, which is crucial when you're sketching cars or products. I'll take you from complete beginner to more advanced rendering techniques, and you don't need any special or expensive art supplies for this. See what my students have to say about this course and how it's helped them, and check it out yourself at analogdesignerpropack.com, linked down below. Now, the front face is brand new for 2025, but the biggest change happened in the interior. So let's jump in here. Let's check out what's going on for the 2025 Santa Cruz, what they changed up. You can clearly see it right here. It is the screen setup right there, but I do like the styling here, looking very clean and very nice. Gloss black, you have the buttons for the windows and the mirror controls, proper door handle as well, a couple of memory settings for the seats, cup holders all the way down, and you do have the Bose sound system speaker integrated in the door. Power assisted for the seats, obviously, for the both the passenger and the driver for the limited edition. So let's jump in here and let's fire this up. Let me show you what's new for 2025 and what I love that is new for 2025 for the Santa Cruz. So first of all, you can see that we do have the dual screen setup here. We have a 12.3-inch gauge cluster, 12.3-inch infotainment screen as well. The integration looks pretty decent to me. I'm not complaining too much about this. It has a nice curvature to it. and it sits very down low in the dash, which I like. And on top of that, we now have this shelf so the passengers can store a lot of stuff. It looks like you can probably fit 3 phones up there. We have soft touch material up here. It's not really soft, but it's not really hard either, sort of in between. Now, looking at the infotainment screen here, this system to me feels a lot quicker, a lot more responsive than the previous one that we had in 2024. Of course, you can connect your phones, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto with the limited spec or trim. You can go into the full map here as well. Looking very clean. You can see just how quick this is to respond to inputs. I like to have it, of course, with my phone plugged in at all times. Going into the gauge cluster, this is sort of configurable. I would like to see maybe more options for the configurations of these, but you can see that we can configure the center portion of this screen to show us different layouts and different information. You also have the, if you have a navigation on, you're gonna see it right here. And you also have the driver assist setting right there in the middle. On the left side, you have this brand new fingerprint reader. So you can set that up. So when you jump in the car, you just put your finger here and it sets it up for your personal preference of the settings. All the way down here, nice horizontal lines in the middle with the vents integrated and the start button right there as well. What I love to see here though for the 2025 model year is that they brought back the knobs for the temperature controls, and this is fantastic to see. It used to be these touch buttons in the 2024 model year, but I love to see that we now have these buttons and dials back integrated in the dash. It makes it so much easier, and it's just overall a better design. You have heated and ventilated seats here in 3 different levels, heated steering wheel as well in 2 different levels, fan speed right here up and down. You have the AC controls, and of course a couple of radio buttons up here in addition to the hazard button. All the way down here, a lot of USBs. If you push this, going to open up a 12-volt cigarette outlet. You have the wireless charging pad located underneath that. Gear selector looks pretty decent. It's a standard looking gear selector. Putting it into reverse, we have a great looking 360 camera, which actually has a very high resolution to it. If you press this button right here, you're gonna see the Santa Cruz out here in the wild. It's not the rockwood green color though. This one is white. I would like to see it in my personal color that I have for this car, but it's just a small detail. Clearly see where all the wheels are positioned, looking very, very nice. There is also a manual mode for the 8-speed dual clutch automatic, putting it into onto the left side right there, and you have the paddles on the steering wheel, obviously. Putting it back into park, we have locking center diff, hill descent control, auto hold, parking brake, and the camera button right here. 2 cup holders, and the key looks like an alien spaceship to me. I think it looks pretty cool. You can fold down the tailgate with the side button, lock, unlock, hold to remote start, and the panic button right there. I wish there was a Hyundai logo on this key somewhere, but we don't get that for this specific key. Looking at the center armrest here, pretty firm, but opening it up, you can see that we have this small little tray that you can take out and clean, and we have a decent amount of storage down there. Would probably want to have a couple of more USBs down there, just a regular old USB, not the USB-Cs that we have here. I want to have just one, at least one normal old school USB style port somewhere in the interior. Now looking at the seats here, fantastic design for the seats. I do like this piece that goes around the headrest, looking very clean, heated and ventilated, and there are, I kind of like that they are brighter than the rest of the interior. You just add some contrast. Enough bolstering for this type of vehicle for sure. Up top you have the sunroof, which you can open up completely. You might actually do this because it is 52 degrees today. And of course, we have a proper glove box right there. Now looking at the steering wheel, pretty normal Hyundai steering wheel for 2025. Interesting here is that we don't have the Hyundai logo in the middle. Instead, we have these 4 dots, similar to the Ioniq style. A couple of buttons on the left side for the cruise control settings and also to adjust the center portion of the gauge cluster right there. And you have the volume and radio controls here in addition to the voice command, and of course the paddles on the side, indicator stock on the left side, and the washer stock right there on the right side. Overall, comparing this to the 2024 interior, I do prefer this one simply because we get the knobs reintroduced for the climate control settings, which is great to see, and I hope a lot more companies are going to do that. I'm looking at you, BMW. So let's jump in to the back seat. Let's check out how I can fit back here. Behind my own driving position, being 6'1", 6'2". First of all, looking at the door panel, looking very similar to the front. Gloss plastic. We have the window control, door handle, cup holder, speaker down here. We can also fold down these, or fold up these seats, and we have storage underneath the seats themselves, which is great to see. A lot of storage in this car. So let's jump in here. This being a unibody truck, I don't have a lot of space here. It's pretty cramped, to be honest. But it's totally fine for shorter road trips. I would say headspace is fantastic, which is great to see because we have this carved out portion up top. All the way down here, we have a couple of USBs, couple of vents as well, and folding down the center armrest, of course, we're going to have 2 cup holders right there. Alright guys, let's take the 2025 Hyundai Santa Cruz Limited all-wheel drive for a drive here in my favorite spot to review trucks and sort of off-road SUVs. It's so quiet and beautiful out here in the middle of nowhere, Colorado. We still have some snow here, even though we do have 52 degrees out today. 8.6 inches of ground clearance should be sufficient for most off-road use. You also, of course, have the all-wheel drive system. We have 4 drive modes, but we don't have any drive modes that is said specifically off-road. We have normal, sport, smart, and snow. So I guess I'll keep it in normal. Now the powertrain is great in this car. I really like the gearbox as well, the dual clutch, 8-speed, and it feels very energetic. You have 281 horsepower and a lot of torque, 311 pound-feet of torque as well. I mean, it goes. It feels like a small car. It's not a big truck, but it feels nimble on the trails like this compared to, for example, a full-size Ram 1500 or something like that. This feels fantastic. And we do have a lot of snow here, as you can see. But coming in was no problem, so going out shouldn't be a problem either. Let's just plow through all of this. It's very comfortable, even if you're riding on 20-inch wheels. There's no problems at all, you know, with the with soaking up all of these imperfections, all this trail. I'm gonna go into switch it into manual when we get out of this the roughest part of the trail up here. We only have a little bit left before we're out on the main trail up here. And just to show you how quick this 8-speed dual clutch. So you don't get the dual clutch in the base trim levels, but you do get it here. You also get, of course, this one comes with a 2.5 liter turbo instead of the 2.4 liter, which I do believe has around 181 horsepower or something like that. You definitely want this with the more power and also the dual clutch. So let's pop it into manual here. Oh yeah, it's a great gearbox. It's actually very fun to drive with the paddles in a truck. I think that's a first, except for the Raptor and the TRX. Oh yeah, it feels like a rally car on these trails. Down to third. Very, very quick shifts. Really like this dual clutch, which is also, of course, a benefit when you go for the top of the line limited trim. Now we are obviously on a trail here, but there's no snow in front of me, so let's just do a quick launch, probably not up to 60. So first gear, and let's go. You can hear just how quick the shifts are, not just in upshifts, but also downshifts as well. And when I read the price of this, $44,100, when I saw the sticker, I was expecting something like closer to 50 or something like that, because we do have wireless Apple CarPlay, heated ventilated seats. You have a lot of cool features in here, comforts that you don't necessarily need. But I think $44,000 for this, it's a pretty good deal. The base Santa Cruz starts at just under $30,000. Not sure exactly how the interior layout is on the base model, but now with the new setup that we have here with the dual 12.3-inch screens, I actually like it. I don't have any complaints about the setup at all. I think it works well. There we go. And it just looks beautifully integrated in the dash as well. It has a nice clean curvature to it, and it doesn't sit too high up to sort of intrude on the visibility outwards. I think it looks great. It reminds me a lot, of course, of the Genesis layouts, but Genesis has a little bit more sophisticated graphics inside of their gauge clusters and infotainment screen. So overall, how can you sum up the refresh of the 2025 Santa Cruz? To me, I think the exterior styling is a great update because it feels more truck-like now and less SUV-like in the front end with this more boxy design that we have with specifically the new daytime run lights for 2025. Interior, as we talked about, I think is a great update. Would I want to see a housing for the gauge cluster and separation between the infotainment screen and the gauge cluster? I don't know. Maybe not in this case, because as I said, the layout is just really great. Would like to see maybe a cap or something on top of this to just hide some glare when we have the sun out today. But for $44,100, if you're looking for a nice, fun to drive, dual clutch automatic, 281 horsepower unibody truck, I think this might be a pretty good choice. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.